What is up, you guys? It is the 45 here, and welcome to episode 1 of my new series here called Duma Explains, where I explain to you everything that goes on in the world of Android and or iOS. And for my first episode, I'm going to be replying to a comment on one of my videos, which was how to root the MyPhone Aqua 2G. If you want to see that video, I left a link to it in the video description below. But anyways, I'm here to reply to a comment on that video and explain to you guys what rooting is, what are the benefits of it, what are the disadvantages of it, what are custom recoveries, what are custom ROMs, and much, much more. So, let's get this started. Okay, so before I can explain to you anything about what custom recoveries are and what are custom ROMs or anything related to that, you'll first need to understand what rooting is. So basically the way I would define rooting as is, rooting is the process of gaining administrative access to the system partition of the Android OS or of the Android device via super user permissions. So basically, when you're trying to root your Android device, you're basically trying to gain an app called Super SU or Super User, which will allow you to open up the system partition or the system part of the Android device, which basically allows you to gain more control over what your Android device can do and it cannot do. Like, for example, if you're using a computer, there's usually a guest account and there's an administrator account. When you log into the administrator account, you basically have control over the whole computer, what it does, what it can do, what it can't do, what it can share with everyone else, and so on. Rooting also relates to that same concept. Rooting gives you control over everything you do on your Android device, what it can do, what it cannot do, and much more. Rooting itself isn't bad, but there is a catch. So that's one of the reasons why rooting is a good thing. There obviously things like this, there are advantages and disadvantages. So I'm gonna start off with the disadvantages. When you root your Android device, you're basically voiding your warranty. Like many people have said on the internet, you're basically voiding your warranty. So if anything happens to your Android device when it's rooted and it breaks or whatever, and you try to bring it in with your warranty and everything, they won't accept it because your Android device is rooted, so they won't accept it. And two, rooting can break your Android device, which means it can damage it software base or internally, which means basically actually the rooting process of rooting your Android device in particular is usually safe, and it's very okay to do, and it's very safe, and it's easy to do. The only problem is things that you do after rooting, like say for example flashing a custom ROM, can break your Android device and can make it rendered useless, which means the worst thing that could happen is it probably gets stuck in a boot loop and just die or whatever and stuff like that. Boot loop actually is like your boot logo when you're turning on your Android device will just keep repeating itself and will never turn on. That's what a boot loop is, in case you were wondering. But anyways, yeah, and the third disadvantage is rooting also does open your Android device. Since you're opening up the system partition, you're basically opening up your whole Android device to a lot of risk, a lot of security risk, a lot of malware, a lot of viruses, and can be very dangerous when you're opening it up and can harm your Android device in many ways. But if you're willing to put up with those caveats, or if you're willing to, accept those changes, rooting does have its advantages, like you can get rid of all of the pre-installed apps that came with your phone, like apps that you don't really use that came with your carrier, you can uninstall, or apps that are just plain useless and you don't want taking space, you can get rid of them by using like apps and stuff to by using certain apps that let you do that. You can also install apps that require root permissions, and there are plenty of them. There's Titanium Backup, which lets you back up all your apps. There's also a ROM manager that lets you back up your whole ROM, or something like that. Lets you manage your whole ROM in certain ways. There's also apps that let you record your Android screen if you have root, and so on. There are many. You'll just have to search in the Google Play Store and find some. Maybe I'll do a video about it someday. Maybe I will, maybe I won't. But anyways, yeah, those are the advantages and disadvantages of rooting your Android device. And so that's basically what rooting is. Now, after you root your Android device, there are plenty of things that you can do after that. Just one of those things that, like I just told you, is installing root-only apps, which require root permissions, or super user or super SU permissions. And two other things you can do is, one, install custom recovery, and two, install custom ROM. I'm going to start off first with custom recoveries. So if you don't know what custom recovery is, basically, before you could understand what a custom recovery is, you'll need to understand what recovery is. So on every Android device, there are certain modes that are built into the Android device that lets you take control of your Android device. One of these modes is called recovery mode. There's also bootloader mode, there's also fast boot mode, but here we're just going to be talking about recovery mode. So recovery mode, on the stock recovery mode, when I say stock, that's like the mode or whatever that came with your Android device. But yeah, the stock recovery mode of your Android device lets you take control of what happens, on what you can do on your Android device when it's not on, like apply a update or something, or reboot the whole system, and so on. But this stock recovery mode does not really give you a lot of options to take control of your whole Android device, and doesn't really give you full access to the whole Android system as a whole. So once you're rooted and you install a custom recovery, like for example, Twerp, TWRP, or Clockwork Mod, or Bill's Touch, or anything like that, you gain more control over what you can do in that mode, and gives you, more options to do what you want to do. Like in a custom recovery, just like Clockwork Mod or Twerp, you can back up your whole ROM, which I'll explain to you what that is later. You can back up your whole ROM, you can back up apps, you can restore your previous ROM to the way it was before, and so on and so forth. I'm not gonna go deep into those because they're gonna take a while, and I'm trying to save enough time here. Anyways, yeah, custom recoveries give you more options on what you can do when your Android device is on, and gives you more control over what you can do to your Android device when it's off and when it's on. So yeah. And lastly, we're going to be talking about custom ROMs. So basically, before you can understand, just like a custom recovery, you need to understand what stock recovery mode is. You'll first need to understand here, before I can talk to you about custom recoveries, you'll first need to understand what a ROM is. So basically, everything that happens on your Android device, everything you navigate through, whether you're in an app, or on your home screen, or in the settings, or wherever you are on the Android OS, you're basically navigating through your whole stock ROM. the ROM that came with your Android device. ROMs on different Android devices are different. Like there are TouchWiz ROMs that come with Samsung Galaxy Android phones. There are HTC Sense ROMs that come with HTC Android phones. There are Sony phones that come with Xperia ROMs, stuff like that, and much, much more. If you basically, when you install so once you're rooted and you install a custom ROM to your Android device, you can basically get more features. You can even upgrade your Android version to get more features. You can also get more customization over your Android device, and it'll let you do more on your device. Some of the names of some of the most popular custom ROMs are AOKP, Paranoid Android, and one of my favorites, my actually go-to ROM on all my Android devices, is CyanogenMod. That's one of the most popular as of this video. But yeah, those are just a few of the custom ROMs that you can download on your Android device. And these ROMs are very popular. They allow a lot of customization. They allow you to do many things. They bring you new features, and it basically gives you more control over how your Android device looks, how it acts, and what it can do and what it cannot do. And basically, that's what a custom ROM is. It basically customizes. It basically gets rid of your whole stock ROM and replaces it with their own custom ROM for your Android device, and lets you do whatever you want to. Installing it on an Android device can be a bit hard if you're not very techy, and it does take a while for some people, and like I said before, it can break your Android device, so just keep that in mind. And either way, guys, I think that's it. That's basically everything you need to know about rooting, what it is, what are the advantages and disadvantages of rooting, what are custom recoveries, and what are custom ROMs. And yeah, guys, that's it. That's episode 1 of Duma Explains. So yeah, that's it. That's episode 1 of Duma Explains. So if you guys like this video, feel free to give it a thumbs up, because that will definitely help me out. And if you have any suggestions on what I should do next, or if you have any problems understanding what I'm talking about here and what I'm explaining to you, feel free to let me know in the comment section below. And while you're at it, feel free to subscribe to my YouTube channel, because I got tons of more content coming your way. I try to release a new video every Saturday and Sunday. And thank you guys for watching. I hope you guys will like me on Facebook, follow me on Twitter, follow me on Instagram. I left all those links in the video description below. Once again, thank you guys for watching, and I will see you guys in the next video. This is Duma 45, signing off.